topic that we are now going to take up is communications. Let's begin by a contemplation. Take a moment to list just some of the challenges that come to your mind when you think about your communication. You don't have to share them, but see if you can bring yourself to be present to how is it that the world of communication challenges you? What comes to your mind when you think about communications? I'll give you just a moment to contemplate. What more can you ask of yourself pertaining to communications? How can you be the max version of communication? A huge, a powerful communicator. What would it be like? When you are now present, this is from this, let's look at communication. Now, another small exercise. You know, there are people, and there is research which is saying that relationship defines the quality of our lives. In fact, Harvard conducted a longitudinal study, a study of adult development, a huge study which has carried on for 80 years. Um, and one of the outcomes of this study, the bottom line, and I'll share a TED link with you to listen to the TED talk on this study. But it's the essence of the outcome is that the key to healthy life is also relationships. The leader of this study, George Valiant, has in his TED talk said relationships define the quality of your career success and your health as well. So we are anchoring ourselves to the idea of relationships also when we are taking up this exercise on communication, diving deeper into communication. So take a moment to list at least 5 people who are important to you in your personal life, and at least 5 people who are important to you in your public life. In your off time, I'll invite this list to be much longer, but right now, at least 5 in each category. Can you just quickly list their initials or their names? Just the list of these names. So now, in these lists, notice if love, fondness, affinity, like I love to spend time close to them, they love to spend time in the same room as me. That is the quality of affinity, fondness, and ease of being with each other. Now, these are not fully experienced. Just put a star against such a relationship where love, affinity, fondness, and ease of being with each other are not fully experienced. Now, quickly go through these lists and see if there are some topics that you do not like to bring up with these people. There are certain kind of topics that I don't like to bring up with these people. What are those topics? Just put those small phrases against these names. These are the topics I don't like to bring up with these people. With this person, not in the entire category, this person, this topic, this person, this topic. I don't want to talk about it. Now, see if you can notice what you are unwilling to say to these people, each of these people. Notice that something remains unsaid from your side. Something remains unsaid from your side. And if you said it, you feel they'll not be able to take it. They'll not be able to get it completely, get you, understand you, take it perfectly. You are not free to tell them something. You're not free to ask or demand something from them. What are you unwilling to say to these people individually? Put that topic against their names. Just take a moment. Now, there is something that they may be feeling, they may not be feeling free to say to you. What are they not free to say to you? You have not given them full permission to say that to you. Like something remains unsaid or partially conveyed. What is it that they are not free to ask of you, demand from you, that you may not be willing to accept or ready to hear from them? You may not understand or have the capacity to emotionally take. this when they say it. It can also be a request or a demand that you do not want to hear. What is it that you have not given them permission to say to you, which may be present for them, but they haven't said it? Now, just go through this list, take a moment and pause and notice what is the impact of this incomplete communication on you, on your life, on your circumstances, on these people. This incomplete communication, there is something unsaid, something which is stealing affinity, fondness, ease of being, complete being with each other. Notice the impact. Yeah.
To me personally, I felt there is it establishes the norms of the communication. Like this is how we'll continue to talk to each other, but we'll not bring up these things. I don't bring up those things, the other person doesn't bring up those things. So unsaid feelings, unsaid conversation.
Yeah.
That's one.
But there is an element of, can you notice if there is an element of limitedness in space? It's not unlimited between us.
No, it is of course limitedness. Yes.
Yeah. It both in private personal area as well as in office area or in professional area. I have limited my my complete being with these people. And notice these are all from my point of view. I have not asked them what are they not free to say. This is your opinion. You have not given them permission to say something to you. You've also not given permission to yourself to say something to them. So you are powerless in this area, not they. They may also be powerless. You have stolen their power. But the first person to be impacted is you, because we are talking from your point of view that you have eliminated some possibilities. Them expressing fully in front of you, you expressing fully in front of them, in with them. So last question, and the most powerful question perhaps, is also the one which will need you to think for a couple of minutes. It is, what results are you committed to creating with these people? And what results do you end up creating with these people when you're communicating with them? Just take a few seconds. What results are you committed to creating? What results do you end up creating? What showed up through this exercise? What is present for you? What have you noticed? Let's just take a quick moment. This is and a discovery exercise. Now, when you take up this exercise on your own time, when I'll send this exercise, the invitation is to make this list 50 people long, hundreds of people long, and see if you can be present to the fact that you've got the same stuff going on in almost all relationships. You're not fully saying what is here, and then you're not letting them say what they want to say. What kind of communication is this? What kind of power will it create? What kind of freedom does it create for yourself to be yourself? You're not letting them hear you fully. I am not asking you at this moment to be present to the repercussions. We'll deal with that separately. We are just coming to the subsequent part. But I just want you to be present to the fact that this can't be the most ease filled, powerful, free way to be, in which you are not letting yourself be heard fully and you are not available to hear fully what they have to say to you. Communication itself is not getting completed. And when communication is not complete, then you walk away feeling incomplete. I haven't said something to you. You haven't understood me. People don't get me. People don't understand me. So it has a cost. I just want you to stand there and be present to that. We'll continue to explore it. And that's what we want to address. We want to become the kind of human beings who are free and powerful to bring all of ourselves to our lives, not live life of smallness, of, of shrinking in any area because freedom is not available there. That's what this invitation is about. Right now, we are just aware about it. How to be such human beings is what we are constantly going to work upon. And these 4 sessions are just going to create an invitation. They are not going to make us into those such human beings. But now the journey has begun. So you might discover more conversations, more power coming your way as you continue to expand into such human beings who are able to say what is going on here for them, or release whatever they had to say. At least if you don't want to say it, don't keep it here. Release it. But if it is present for you, say it. So that it, but how to say it, etc., we are going to talk about it. What is going on here, that itself we'll talk about. Relationship, the soul, the entire being of relationship is carried in the ship called communication. And relationship, we just discussed, is the quality of our lives. You know, Martin Heidegger, a philosopher, says you are not being in here. We say I'm being in here. He says you are being out there, which means that I am experiencing myself in the relationships and the people, what they are saying about me. So let's just stand there that this has an impact. Maybe uh, I am not fully addressed how to experience the freedom in this zone, but this is an area I want to really empower. Are you complete with this? Yes. All right. So we are going to dive deeper into a communication, an understanding. We are going to begin a chapter, the discussion on communication. Notice that we have a way in which we relate with the world. We have a way in which the world occurs for us. You know, that when we are looking at the world, it shows up something like this. Notice if it is present for you, that there is a world out there and there is me in here. There is a world out there and it has a certain quality. Can you see for yourself that there is you here and there is world out there that you are experiencing? It's me in here and it's world out there. And that world out there that I'm encountering, dealing with, it has a certain quality. What are the qualities of that world? I mean, the universe out there and me in here. I'm not talking about theoretical. I'm saying in my first hand experience of me in here versus the world out there, there is a certain kind of reaction. When I get up in the morning and begin to step out of myself and to start dealing with the world, which is in office or in my relationships, there's a world out there. What are the qualities of that world? Can you quickly just share what comes up for you? The world out there. I am in here and the world is out there. Yeah, Rajiv?
Okay, so sometimes it is in the positive sense that okay, this is what is going to keep me busy. So looking forward to it. This is where I'll get some success. Looking forward to it. Sometimes it is all about resistance,
Hmm.
right? I know that it is going to be a world of resistance because,
Hmm.
right? And the third is sometimes it's like a jungle in the sense that I have to go out and explore. Like,
Hmm.
say, if I have to get up in the morning on a Saturday and deal with some property matters, right?
Hmm. Hmm.
Nobody knows enough about it, frankly,
Yeah,
right? Even a that means I have to pick up phone, talk to people, just unknowns, right? So
absolutely. I get it.
scared, and I would say discovery phase. So it could be many things, but I just described three of them.
Yeah, I got that completely. Thank you so much, Rajiv. This is so a typical way in which the world shows up for us is that I am in here, individual, one, small because this is me in here and the world is many and it's mighty. There is a lot going on out there that I have to deal with, and there is this problem and that guy will not get it and this guy will not get it and I'm trying to explain it to them. So it's me in here, small, and there's the world out there which is large and it is mighty and it doesn't completely cooperate with me. It's indifferent to me. It doesn't care enough for me. It is in certain ways dangerous. I have to deal with it. If I was to magically, in my mental experience, turn the entire outward experience into a single entity, it's me in here and me out and the world out there, then that single entity is rather mighty and huge, and it's very, very uncaring to me, and it's not very cooperative with me. I have to deal with it. I have to somehow work upon it, and that starts the way in the context that creates the context in which I interact with the world out there, and that creates the default context. And that default context of my interaction is that the world is a dangerous place. It's an indifferent place. It's an uncaring place. It's an unloving, not fully supportive in every fashion kind of entity. So I have to defend myself, or I can improve upon the world. I can exercise improvement of this world. I can change this world somehow to cooperate with me. But either ways, as it is right now, it is not fully cooperative. It is not perfectly aligned to me. So I have to defend myself, or I have to improve it, fix it. In this context, in this construct, communication is happening. This is the this is the relationship in which communication is happening. Me in here, world out there, and I'm talking to it. Now, in this construct, this default construct, the definition of this construct is that world has a nature, has a way of being. It is kind of, I can tell you what the world is like. I say something about the world. And I also say something about myself. Both have a certain description which I can speak and describe. It is as if both have a certain fixed way of being. Now, when I show up in such a world, I open my eyes, I was sleeping. When I show up in such a world, I show up as a certain kind of concerns. You show up as a certain kind of concerns. Let's say when you are coming to a room full of people, a boardroom full of people at work, they are already sitting. As soon as you open the door and enter, you arrive with a set of concerns. What does it mean? The word concern. Concern is what we notice, what interests us, what are we dealing with, what are we paying attention to, what are we ready to encounter and work to change, transform, defend, offend, whatever it is that we are dealing with. Now, what are the concerns which are present for you as soon as you enter? What are those kinds of concerns? With what concerns do you approach a boardroom full of people? Let's say you enter and there are already a lot of people and they're paying attention to you and you are paying attention to them. Now, what are those concerns which are present for you?
Like the message what I have to
Go ahead, Ravi, and then
like the message what I have to convey to them. Can I do it effectively?
Right. Now, Ravi, go one step even. So I need to communicate that message because what is my concern? So my need to convey the message is coming from what concern? Just stand there, just continue to look. That I need to
do the best.
Why? What is my concern?
Is it prepare 100% right?
And why does it need to be right?
Because it should, like if I'm going there, it should be perfect.
So it should be perfect and right, because if it were not right, then what?
But that's my job. Like that should
happen. It should happen that I should do the right thing. I should do the right thing there. I should appear perfect. I should do. Otherwise, I am not something. Something is not right then. My predominant commitment is to be right, to be admirable at that point of time. Can you see that? My immediate concern is I must do right and be admirable, look good to myself and to others that I'm doing the right thing. My concern is to be right and to look good. I have to validate myself. My urgent concern is to validate this identity. Oh, you're okay. You did well. Your concern is for yourself. Can you notice that? Be right, be better, be more, be different, be better, admirable, look good, avoid looking bad. That's your concern. Well, that's the predominant human concern. As soon as we enter the life, our immediate concern is this. Now, this creates an automatic conversation. Now, when you will create the conversation instantaneously, it is created with these concerns. When you are entering a room, your concern is to be admirable, to be validated. So everything is automated. You will repeat a certain pattern. Notice that your communication in your relationships is following a repetitive and consistent pattern. You are saying the same or similar things that you have said before. There is nothing new happening in your conversations. When you're talking to your conversation to people in your office or in your personal life, there is nothing new going on. You're speaking the same thing. It is as if yesterday playing once again today. It's like day before yesterday played yesterday. You are not creating any new breakthroughs. Even your hello, good morning is predictable. There's no newness to it. It's not creating anything path breaking. You are only explaining, defending. No new possibilities exist. There is no intention to create. So those concerns are driving a very automatic conversation. That's the way in which traditionally the conversations happen. Now, in this default construct of communication, default construct, the communication only have two dominant occurrences. The communication is either going on in which you are defending yourself, covertly defending yourself. That means the world out there is very mighty, and I have to defend myself, which means I have to avoid it, or I have to resist it. I have to survive the pressure of the world, which is trying to improve me, change me, or it is asking me to justify myself. I have to justify myself. I have to convince. I have to protect my own point of view or image. I have to manipulate somehow so that I can exist and define myself, flatter. Or I will relent, yield, yield with resentment. Or I will withhold something. That's one way of being, which is defending. Or the other way of being is when I am in the context of somebody whom I feel more powerful, then I will start improving that world. I will start improving that person. I'll start fixing him as if he's a broken clock. I am kind of pointing out omissions or mistakes by this person, instructing, like giving advice, gyan, patronizing, like repairing them in some way, dominating them, like forcing something out of them, changing them in some way, commanding, nagging, complaining, or giving up on them, like generalizing or condemning them. So the communication takes just two different tools. It just follows two repeating patterns. One, I'm communicating to survive or defend myself, or to communicate to fix and improve another set of human beings. Can you see that? That almost all communication, when you are fully present to it, nearly all your communication, even when the ones with our loved ones, is either with an intention to improve them. Can you improve this? Can you not do this? Can you choose this? You would be so much better. In fixing them like a broken clock, forcing them to be better, condemning them in a fashion that you always do that, nagging, complaining. Or we go into our defense when they are improving us. Then we'll justify, then we'll survive, or we'll agree to them, relent. Right? Resent, but relent. We are resisting, surviving their pressure. Our communications have predominantly just these two things going on in the context of our personal as well as our official world. We are either trying to improve someone, or someone else is trying to improve me. So I have to constantly survive it, or I'm trying to fix them. Can you see this, that this is going on in communications in your relationship? Yes? Is it present for you? That your loved ones are either trying to improve you or you are trying to improve them in almost all communications. Almost all communications. This is what is going on. Is it present for you? Yes? Yep. And that example you can see in every area. What kind of communication does this create when you're defending or offending? When you're covertly defending, covertly offending? You're surviving or fixing? You're defending or improving? What communication? This kind of communication can never be powerful. It's incomplete. There is no oneness. So if you are defending, you will find that you are avoiding a certain, you avoiding saying something. You are justifying yourself. So you are not fully expressed. You are actively withholding expressing something. Now, this active withhold is what kills all relationships, which means you're not saying something in that relationship. And perhaps the most precious thing that you can say that you withhold is to express your love. You're not fully expressing your love. You're not expressing love from the place of vulnerability. And on the other side, when you're improving or fixing the other side, then you are as if completely disconnected from them. You have gone and sat at a higher throne of wisdom. So you have disconnected from them. And now, as a wise person, you are broadcasting your gyan. What does it mean to broadcast? Communication is not broadcasting. Broadcasting versus communication, what is the distinction? Give me a thought.
One is one way and communication is two way.
Absolutely. When I'm broadcasting, I don't care whether you're getting it or not, what impact it is having. I broadcast it. I put it out there. Now it's up to you. So when you're improving other people, you are not doing it with an intention to make a difference to them. In your eyes, you are being admirable, but you didn't even care how it landed. You're not sensitive to what impact it created for them. You were not attuned to them. You are attuned to here because you had to give gyan. You had to fix them. It's as if you go through life accumulating new wisdom, and then you will vomit the first chance you get upon people who are vulnerable before you. And you have divided people also in two parts. There are one set of people whom you need to defend in the presence of. Those people are more powerful than you in communication or in rank. So you don't want to offend them, fix them, improve them, even though you try at certain times. But there is another set of people who are sorry, sir. There's a call that I got. I don't know why it is coming, although it is silent that I had. Yeah. Right. So even the world is divided into two sets of people. One set of people against whom you need to defend, another set of people against whom you are open to offending. And the dunya is divided. Can you go through the list and see which people you are generally in which mold? But you can also see there are certain people with whom you switch between defending and fixing, defending and fixing, defending and offending. You make that transition. But sometimes there are certain people you have put in one category or the other. Can you see in your list which category these people are? Each person is in a different category. Can you just go through that list for a moment? So in this category, when you are broadcasting, when you're fixing people, you command, control, convince them. You can't take no with them. And in the other area, you avoid, justify, because you're defending yourself. Can you notice that a lot in such form of communication is hidden? A lot is held back. You're avoiding some topics. You're avoiding some people. You're avoiding listening to some topics. There is an agenda. but it is ineffective. You are not effective in communication in these areas. And also, you are unacknowledged, unappreciated in such communication. Others also walk away unappreciated, unacknowledged, not fully understood, not understood. Like, nobody gets you fully, nobody understands you, nobody gets you. And then people in your life also, nobody gets them because you didn't get them completely. So everybody is alone, separate, defending an imagined threat, fixing, improving. Something is not enough, something is not right, something is wrong with me or with the other person. I'm constantly improving. So notice that this is how the world has divided itself for me, in my eyes. And the default construct in which this is happening is that the world is a dangerous place. It has a fixed nature. I am in here, the life is happening to me. I'm not creating life. And the purpose of communication, in this context, the purpose of communication becomes to survive, to manage, to deal with, to handle my concern, to be admirable. And I show up as powerless, inauthentic, having an agenda, but not fully effective. I walk away having communicated incomplete. A lot was held back. I never said it fully, and nobody got me fully. And I didn't get them fully. There is no freedom of self expression for me to say whatever came to me. So I walk away unacknowledged. Nobody gets me. And I don't get them fully. Tell me if this is going on. Can you see if this is going on? Just share a little bit with me before we go further. Tell me if this is the case. And what is present for you in your life? What's going on for you in your life? Yeah, Rajiv, would you like to share?
Like,
Gaurav, go ahead. Go ahead.
yeah, like by hearing all this, actually, the concept is also becoming more stronger that it's your responsibility and you are not being responsible. That is why your relationships are not going well. Like, first you understand the concept, but then the realization happens. So by listening this, it's becoming more 100%. Yeah, we are in the fault. We are not doing. It may have consequences, but yeah, the journey needs.
Yeah.
We want to start the journey.
Yeah, but remember, do not create any guilt, because guilt is like an escape. It is like getting me off the hook. I don't need to do anything about it. About guilt, I don't need to do anything. It's like guilt. I'm scot free because I feel guilty. I let myself get off the hook because I feel guilty, right? So this is an opportunity for me to, as you said, to create responsibility. I'm willing to be the cause of what is happening in communication, whatever is happening. Thank you, Gaurav. This was beautiful. This is
And
powerful.
also I'm feeling as of now why we feel separate, why we feel lonely. And now we always try to build some new connections, maybe getting married, maybe kids, maybe new friends. But it never happened that we feel complete.
Absolutely. Because you are misunderstood, never communicated fully. You are not self expressed. You are not saying yourself out there. What is going on in here is not getting known out there. And what is going on out there, you are not attuned to paying attention to what is going on for another human being. So alone, small, ineffective. Thank you. Anybody else? Anyone else would like to share? So that making it real, it doesn't remain a theoretical concept. Otherwise, this discussion turns into a theory, which is not. Yeah, Vinayji, go ahead, please.
See, what you are indicated is perfect. What I want to communicate, they are not understanding. And what they want to communicate, I am not understanding.
Ineffective.
So, yes, it is a fact.
I was saying it is ineffective communication, right? It is not a complete conversation. Like, we don't get each other, create oneness. Like, think about it. When a communication gets complete, what is the experience of a complete conversation?
See, but it has never happened with me. So I don't feel.
I get you. I hear you. I hear you completely. Now imagine what is the impact, what would be a complete communication? How powerful. Yeah.
When such a communication happens, when there is oneness, it is very happening powerful communications. Like with some of the friends, when you have the same communication, very powerful, and you enjoy that moment when you are in communication with them.
It's rare. You've experienced it, to have taste of it, but you're not able to ongoingly create it. Yeah. It's rare, but it is happening. You know that powerful communication does happen in your life. Sometimes it happens with some people. That when you fell in love, it happened. When you fell in love with God, it happens. Sometimes it happens with people. And when the communication is complete, there is not much left to say. You are so powerfully gotten, which means everybody gets you. The person gets you fully, and you get that they get you. So there's not much to say. And there is this fireworks of unity that you feel one and in love with each other, whoever might the other person be. Could be a friend or a father or a mother, I do not know. Could be another human being, or it could also be a boss. But that sensitive, that moment of openness and vulnerability, both have been gotten. Both are walking away as if I get you, and you get that I get you. The most powerful communication that you can give to anybody is to communicate to the person that I have completely understood, gotten you, I have got you. Which means, can I say to you now, see, imagine if I was to tell to you that I get you, I understand you, I am fully, Vinayji.
Yes, you see the power of communicating and understanding. That means the two people having the same alignment.
Yeah, and
this is something bliss.
Yeah,
And in my life, it has happened only once.
Mm-hmm.
And when it happened, whatever we thought of during that communication, it was got done in the period that we thought it could be done.
Got it. And
when we discussed these things, we thought that such things are not possible in that particular period of time.
Now,
Vinayji,
we want to create that we will be such human beings who will play the game of creating this in every relationship of our lives, ongoingly. We will distinguish, we will master what does it take to create this, and we'll begin to play that game. So are you game for that? Can you see the distinction of the old world? That the old world was पुरानी दुनिया जिसमें मैं communicate करता था, that old world is that there's a world out there and I am in here and I have little power over it. That means the world is fixed and I am fixed in here. World is fixed, I am fixed in here. So all that is left for me is to explain it, describe it. I am not creating it. I'm not making it happen. Now there is a new construct. There is a new context in which powerful communication happens. And that powerful communication happens in the world. That was the first topic that was discussed when we connected. And that topic is that I am interpreting the world. World seems to me. It's a beautiful day out here. You can see the sunshine right now. It's a subject of it's occurring to me like that. It's seeming to me like that. The world itself has no fixed nature. I create world by my interpretation. I create the samne wala person, the world, the situation by how I bring my consciousness, my focus to it. When I change my way of viewing it, the world itself takes a new shape. That's the new construct. That means through my listening and noticing, I'm creating my version of interpreting my reality. That's the new construct. And I have the power to change the way that I'm interpreting it, that I'm changing the reality, that there is no person who is a certain way, that my wife is really like that, that my boss is really like that. Instead of that, I am creating an interpretation, and it is the world is responding to it by validating what I am saying about it. When I say something about a human being, new evidence begins to line up for me. I begin to line up that new evidence to validate what I have just said. That really he is like I said. She is. Oh, the world is beautiful today. And the day is beautiful. I line up that evidence. People are subject to my creation. They are not a certain way. I'm actually creating my wife on the fly, which means my wife is beautiful is not happening out there. I'm making it in here in my eyes by saying so. Isn't she the most beautiful person in the universe because she's so kind and wonderful? I'm in awe of her generosity and care for me. And that's what I'm tuning into deliberately. So the wife does not have a is nature. She's fixed. No. I deliberately created a wife who is caring by attuning myself into her caring nature. Now, there must be one time when she was rude yesterday. I don't tune into that. I have power to create. So that's the new construct. The new construct is the world is a created world. I'm creating my universe. I'm creating my reality. I am creating myself also. What I say about myself is not fixed. That means, no, really, I'm bad at maths. Who says? Yesterday I didn't practice it. I was bad. Let me show you. Now I'll practice. I'll be another human being altogether. I'm subject to creation even right now. Like for example, I am a certain way. Look, I'm really like a certain way. That's the old construct. In the new construct, I create myself. I can shift. I am flexible. Through my powerful intention and following my word, I create myself newly. That's the game I'm playing. It's a game, right? Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm sorry. Just want to say something.
Yeah.
So I completely follow Amit your point of view because this is a personal mastery conversation.
Mm-hmm.
This doesn't have to do really with the world. Really, it's about how I work on my intentions, my word, and sort of internally direct the outlet thing. There's a lot of, I would say, learning that we have done over the years, right? And like example, I'll say, अगर कुछ रिजल्ट चाहिए तो इसी तरीके से उससे बात कीजिए, right? So there are stereotypes set in our head, or the communication that we read about is to learn to step into other person's shoes first and understand what they are looking for, and then your communication becomes easy and all of that. This is a different paradigm altogether what you're talking, right? So again, I appreciate what you're saying.
And I'm not asking you right now to release everything that is present. It can't be released. But I am also inviting you to see that the same paradigm, the old paradigm, will become available to serve you in a new way altogether.
True.
Right? It will not become useless. Now it is subservient to how you want to use it. You can still do whatever you like. We have just begun the communication discussion, but now we will continue to master it. See, in this world in which you are creating it, it is not. When you deepen your understanding, you will understand that it's really true. I chose to call this length 1 meter and then created agreement that it is 1 meter. That's when it became 1 meter. Till then, it was just this.
Yeah.
There is nothing which is particularly long or short. It is only because I'm calling it so. So you will begin to see that interpretation business is really what I am into. And I'm really creating my children as by what I'm saying about them. That my children, oh, wow, what an awesome human being. The person appears like that. When I'm saying, what a weakling and needs constant support, then I'm constantly holding their hand and I'm making them into weak human beings. So I'm fully creating my reality. Now, this brings the chapter of responsibility in, which means I am responsible for creating my first hand experience of the first person in front of me, of people in front of me. So that changes what I'm up to. In the context of relationship, responsibility takes an altogether new meaning. What is that new meaning? That I am fully responsible. That means I'm willing to be the reason, willing to be the cause of what others get when I talk. That means I am not going to speak and broadcast and hang it in the air. It's not going to come out of my mouth and fall to the ground. I am going to be responsible for the impact it causes out there in you. I'm not I'm not leaving it to chance what it creates for you. I'm going to be responsible that you get it, that you get the soul of my conversation. Do you get it? Do you get it? What are you getting? What are you taking away? I keep asking you that, right? I am fully responsible that you are as powerfully impacted by it as powerfully I'm generating it. Not 20% of it, not 50% of it, not 70%. Fully, I am responsible. How much responsible? 100% responsible that you are impacted, not 99%. So when you are willing to take responsibility that your wife gets you, your subordinates get you, so you are willing to repeat, slow down, and you are monitoring not how you are saying it, you are monitoring what it is impacting. You're not being in here, you're being out there inside people and experiencing it. Are they getting it? Are they really understanding it? Is it creating the impact? That completely changes the business that you are into. Do you get it? That's the first chapter of responsibility of communication. I am responsible for the impact it creates there. Second chapter of responsibility, that I am fully responsible for getting where you are coming from. I am not getting 90% of it. I'm going to ask you, request you to clarify. Tell me again. And I'm going to be so attentive, which is unbelievable. I'm going to really pay acute attention to where you're coming from. So I am fully responsible to get what you are saying. Not just what you are saying. I am fully responsible for getting you, who you are, where you are coming from, what is your commitment that you are coming from, what is your world, the word that you are communicating, as well as the world, the contextual world from which you are communicating it. I am fully responsible for getting it. I am not going to leave it to chance. I'm going to bring 100% responsibility to getting what you have, but you just not communicated. I'm not going to leave it to chance. Do you get it? Now that changes the way that in which I listen. You know,
there could be multiple responsibilities
yeah,
for the same incident.
Clarify that. Say that again, Ashwin.
Yeah, like I mean, when we are saying that, okay, let's say, I mean, because of something, I am asking someone to do something or putting on the task to be done for someone because of X, Y, Z reason. I means I have to prioritize, let's say, office, and I have to give some work to my wife. Now she will have to do that. Now that becomes a burden on her. But what she is going through again becomes my responsibility, and again I have to take the responsibility of office also.
That's that. So because there is no burden, right? First of all, responsibility, no burden, and I'm willing. Only then. Only then the rest of the sentence. I am willing to be responsible for what it creates. If I'm not willing, there is no responsibility. And I get to blame her. She didn't do it. We are departing from the context of communication, but I'm also saying what it is creating, the communication, what it is creating. I am the kind of human being, in my eyes, I am the kind of human being who is not willing to let it be to chance that you will get me. I am going to take full responsibility that you get me. I'm that kind of human being to myself. To myself, I'm that kind of human being that I listen fully to get your word as well as your world. Now, this is a game I'm playing. There is no burden in this, Ashwin, right? Because there is the context, the relationship of burden itself is not existing in this. I have set it aside, not in this conversation. That's in another conversation.
Yeah.
There's no blame, there's no shame, there is no pride, there is no credit, right? I've set all of that aside. Yes, Vinay.
See, the very feeling of being responsible for creating the impact, I feel, creates forced communication. Let's say I am the manager, okay? And now I want certain things to happen in time period A and in the fashion. Now, if the team is not understanding and I am responsible, then I'll force my way.
So
I'll create an impact in such a way that they do the way I want it.
So force.
And the purpose is defeated.
Yeah,
that's how I feel.
Right. Absolutely right. Forced communication is broken communication. Forced intention is a broken communication. That's not what we are talking about. We are talking about the team getting the full world of what you are saying also, not just your word and instruction. You are committed to bringing not just your word, your instruction, you are also bringing your full universe to them. You are making available why it should get done. Right? But also just stay on the path. We have not just finished the conversation. You see, when we are talking to somebody, a certain point of view is already present for us. A point of view that creates the reality of the other human being, that the other human being is a certain way. That's the old context.
In corporate world, when a target is passed on, many times even the general manager may not know why this target is being taken up, but he has to get it done.
Yes.
Secondly, when I translate this to, say, personal life, the perceptions of two people will have a different force.
Yeah.
And if I wish to, say my perception impactfully, the worst thing happens is raise the voice rather than using the words.
Vinayji, just park the discussion right now. We'll come back to this, right? I'm inviting you to bring your listening to what I'm going to share, so that we've completely distinguished the power of each chapter, and then let's bring everything to discussion so that there is openness, and otherwise we will lose a little time. But I'm committed to addressing whatever it is that shows.
I agree with you, sir. I'll follow your advice.
Right. Thank you. So what I'm saying is, first, responsibility is what we were creating. Responsibility is about 100% that I am responsible for getting what you said, your universe. And I'm responsible that what I say, you get it completely. You don't just get my word, you get my world also. Now, if I am responsible for getting what you said, then I have to listen differently. The first thing is the heart of communication, the soul of communication, Jaan communication is in listening, not in speaking. It dies with listening depleting. As soon as listening goes away, the communication is dead. You have no chance of making an impact when you're not listening. You will not say anything worthwhile if you lose listening. So then after that, when you're not listening, then you're gone into the business of All India Radio broadcast. Now, other person is not getting it fully or getting it partially, it's not your business then. Then you lose to have an impact. You don't have an impact. The soul, the jani communication ki is in listening. And there is a very powerful context of how listening happens. Otto Scharmer is an MIT professor who talks about what are the 4 levels of listening. So imagine you have a house on one side of the street, and on the other side of the street is the person you are talking to, living in her house. Now you are sitting in your bedroom on the first floor, and the other person is sitting in her bedroom on the first floor, and you are talking from your bedroom, shouting, trying to get to that person. You have a view of your world. You're looking at your walls, your pictures, your universe, and you're talking from there. That's the first level of listening. And the other person is speaking from her bedroom, listening into the talk, describing their walls, but you can't get their world because you're watching your world. So your mind is closed. You are only listening to validate what you know to be real. You are not listening for their world. You're listening to validate your world, your outlook. That's the first level of listening. The listening only to validate. If it is not validated, then you reject it. Then you try to convince the person. You haven't even given the person a chance to create the perception. Second level of listening is you get out from your bedroom, step into the balcony, and you're looking out. So now you have suddenly discovered there is a view outside your outlook. You thought this was the world. Now there is something new to be discovered. So that's an open-minded listening. You have an open mind that something new might show up. But you have still not entered the other person's universe to first-hand experience their world. The third level is when you get into the stairs, come down to the ground floor, climb the stairs, get into their room. You are looking at her room and you are listening from there. Now that's open heart listening. It's empathetic listening. So the first was closed mind, validating. Second was open-minded. Third was open-hearted. Now what can be the fourth? Can you think? What can be the fourth level of listening? What would be a higher level of listening than empathetic listening? What do you think?
Listening from whole as a human being, entirety of it.
Auto
to go to their room.
Sorry, go to their room already happened in the third level. You went down, climbed the stairs, got into their room. Now you're listening from their heart, which means their emotions. You're fully present to their heart, their suffering, their emotion.
It would mean, they stop doing any other work they are doing and give full attention to each other, what is speaking and what is being spoken.
So that can happen even in the first level. You are listening physically to what words are coming, but you are listening only to validate your own point of view and win an argument.
There is no.
Yeah, Gaurav?
Yeah, like there's no ego. It's like completely one.
So let me give it a voice that Otto Scharmer, the MIT professor, gives. He says the fourth level of listening is when you're listening from the source of the other person. When you're listening to the common source that both people are. It is to listen to the highest version of that person. It is to listen to the max version of that person, which is not in front of you, but you know is behind the curtain. You are listening to the soul, which is the truest representation of that person. Like you are listening to your child, not as a weak human being, but as a person, the humongous potential that he is. You are able to attune yourself to the max future of that human being, and you're listening from there. You are pulling that person up in your listening. I know you are such a human being. You are not this small guy. That's the fourth level of listening. That you are not just listening from the present of that human being. You're gone and sat into the possibility of that human being huge. And you are able to be as huge, and you're listening from there. You are fully present to your divinity, your common divinity, both of us being Atma. You are listening from God version of yourself and listening to the God version of another person. Even if the words that are coming out from another person are still pertaining to their pain, but you know behind those words is a powerful human being. That person is soul. And you're listening for the power of that person behind that. You are addressing not this argument that he's making, but you're addressing the potential that person is. So you're talking to I know this is not who you are. I know you're a huge human being. And in your listening, the other person grows. Just because the way that you keep talking and you keep listening for the back version of that person, the person responds to your listening by being huge. Now, this is something you'll have to make real in practice. Coaches are trained to do this. This is the soul of our work. That you cannot listen to the person that is talking to you from their point of weak experiences or failures. You are trained to listen to the person that the max version of who he can be. You are a stand to bring that person to the table in this conversation. That person is standing behind the curtain. Bring that out. That huge person he is. You know that there is such a person in your wife. You know that there is such a person in your child who is huge. Pay attention to that. When you're listening for that, that's fourth level of listening, the listening from the source. And when you're committing 100% responsibility to listen to that, 100% responsibility to listen to that, then what you speak will go and create powerful resonance. You're addressing that human being. You're not just addressing the powerless human being. That's responsibility. That's listening. You recreate what the person has said fully. What did you say? What did you just say? But not just the words of another human being. You recreate the world and the intention of the huge person that he is or she is. So, essence of communication, the soul of communication is in listening, is in your listening, not of the other person's listening, not mutual listening, in your listening. Because responsibility doesn't come in 50-50. It comes in 100%. When you're listening for that, what happens to your concern about being admirable and being right? Tell me this. What happens to that? I have to be right. How am I being judged? Am I being assessed? I need to be admirable. I need to look good. Avoid looking bad. What happens to that?
It's diluted.
To no longer exists. That concern vanishes, and there is a powerful new concern which gets created in a new context. And that new context is we are already always profoundly related. You see, we have come from a single mother. Genetically it is proven there is a single woman out in Africa from whom we have all originated. In fact, if you take a few more billion years back, we have come out from a single atom. Big Bang theory is coming. So how profoundly are we related? The person that we are talking to is not just one and not just related, we are one. So this context of communication is that we are first already related. First, we are brothers and sisters talking. First, we are already intimately in relationship. Now we are talking. The customer that you are walking into the room of is already a relative. So your concerns of being admirable make way for a new set of concerns What are the concerns which show up when you are already intimately related? What kind of concerns show up when you are listening to the huge version of the person? What kind of concerns are there? There are some concerns, but what kind of concerns? What are you paying attention to? What are you committed to?
Their concerns.
Sorry, their concerns. And not just their concerns from small point of view. Tumne aisa bola, maine aisa bola. Not just that. When you are attuned to their huge version, then what are the kind of concerns?
We are fully into it to address those.
And not just what is in front, but you're addressing something bigger.
The source.
Something bigger, something which is mutual, not just your concern, but mine too, because we are one. Our concerns become common and one. Can you see that? Yeah. But guys, the one of the pillars of communication is to release the point of view, because we already know something to be true about that human being which is coming in the way of this conversation. We know something to be really true. नहीं, वो सच में ऐसा ही है. सच में ही ऐसा है वो. We know something to be true. We are holding on with dear life to our point of view about that person and about the situation, about myself. So we have to give something up. For communication to start being possible, we have to give something up. What is my point of view that I'm holding? Can you release that? Whatever is present before starting of conversation, can you release that? Can you really listen and bring your intention and bring your commitment, but release everything all else that is present? When you release, when you give something up, then in that space, communication powerfully begins to take place through your listening. And you listen like this, that the other person said X. He did not said X plus Y. He also did not said X minus Y. You're able to listen to the person exactly as the person said X. Once I was coaching a lady. She is still a client after years. And in the first assignment that I gave her, she wrote a huge 25 pages document explaining her challenges and her accomplishments and life and goals. In the first session that I had read it all. I had taken notes. First 10 minutes, I just told her that this is what I'm present to. Is this what you have written? Is this what is going on for you? For 10 minutes, I just gave back what she had written without deleting anything, without adding anything. Just giving back what she said. And she was in tears. She said, I have never felt this understood. Imagine I did nothing. Nothing at all. If you were to tell your wife, okay, is this what you are saying? Completely repeating exactly what you said. Is this really where your intention is? Without adding or subtracting anything, you'll be surprised how blissful you'll make those people just by creating for them in evidence that they have been gotten fully. I get you. I fully get you. Full stop. Nothing more to add on that. That's the most magical completion to conversation you can ever create. When you tell another human being that I get you. I fully get you. Yep.
Okay. So, not directly connected, but I have an uncle. His style of talking, and it's not like deliberate or something, doesn't have all the wisdom on earth, for sure. His style of talking is he tends to hear from you and probably rephrase it and paraphrase it. And it's sort of interview, to be honest, like he's very inquisitive. He keeps asking the same, like the next level things in it, right? And he's not adding anything, right? Probably he's learning from me. But I always remember that conversation with him for this exact reason, that he's just spending his, headlight is on me, right? Basically, like, he puts the headlight on me and talks to me like that. And I feel like, okay, he's heard me.
Yeah, which is the very, very powerful thing. There's Dale Carnegie tells an incident of a little girl having a conversation with her mother. So the little girl tells the mother who's working in the kitchen, or the mother says to the little girl, "I love you." And the little girl says, "I know." The mother is taken a little back. This little girl is saying, "I know you love me. How do you know that I love you?" She said, "Because when I come and talk to you, you put whatever you're doing, you put it down, you turn to me and you listen to me fully." Dale Carnegie talks about a real incident like this. The child knows that there is love by your listening. Because that moment, she's completely received. Unadulterated. You see, we adulterate other person's spoken word by adding meaning into it, by interpreting it to ourselves, by putting it in our slots of what we already know. Yes, please, Vinay.
In fact, this practice I used to follow when I was working. So if say somebody comes to me and say, "Sir, I want to discuss certain things with you. Okay, please be seated. Give me just 30, 40 seconds. I'll complete whatever work is in my hand, shut down the computer, just, laptop complete closed, put it on the side, and then, yes, now let us talk."
Right. But you have elevated yourself from not just this, but also to the fourth level of listening. You see, first thing is, like Rajiv also said, and what Vinay also emphasized, the first thing is also perhaps to repeat back, "Is this what you said?" That itself creates that gottenness, that I've got you fully, without adulterating it, without changing. And you'll be surprised that we do not repeat the things as spoken. We add our own color of interpretation into what was spoken. You'll be surprised, even to a small matter. What will you have for breakfast? We do not listen to the sentence as it is. We listen to some other version of it. That I am concerned about something else, or you don't listen to as it is. And the only powerful time when you will listen is if you are fully aware that it is not natural for us to listen. We do not listen. We live in our heads. Here is what is the most important thing that I can say in this matter. You don't listen to me. You listen to what you are saying about what I am saying.
So you see, this has continued. So when I'm working at my home, I give tuition and all. I make my books, whatever I do. So sometimes, in the evening, my daughter will drop in and say, "Papa, I want to talk to you." Okay. So most of the time, I'll shut down my computer and then talk to her. Okay. But if I am not shutting down, she just waits.
So okay, she is taking responsibility. She is taking full responsibility for your listening. That you get her. She is taking the waiting time. But also, Vinay, can you be present to the fact that when I was making the previous point, your mind was on the previous point that you just made?
No.
So just pause there. Just pause there. And I'm not coaching Vinay on this matter. I'm coaching myself and others. Also, notice, Vinay, the moment I think that I really do listen is the moment that I don't listen. When I'm thinking really that, no, I'm really listening. I'm really paying attention to you. Human beings do not listen. It's not personal to me. It's not personal to Vinay. We do not listen. We listen to what I am saying about what you are saying. I am only listening to what I am saying about what you are saying. I am not listening to you. I'm not listening to your word. I'm not listening to your world. I'm far from listening to your fourth level, which is your source, the God version of Vinay. First, to catch myself not listening is to begin listening. If I don't even catch myself not listening, then I'm living in denial. I am living in denial. I always listen. To my children, I always listen. Right? The listening is not going to be validated in my listening. Are they saying that they have been completely gotten? Are they in bliss when they talk to me? the way that we are in bliss when we get heard fully. If that didn't get created, then I didn't listen yet. Because that magic has not happened, that rainbow hasn't shown up, that sun hasn't begun to shine, they are not really beaming, they are not really wowed right now by my listening. So there is something more to do in my listening yet. My listening has not stretched them into a huge human being. My listening alone changes people. When that happens, then I'm listening. I am still listening from my point of views. When did this point of view get created? In the past. I'm listening from there. Past is present in present. So that is already clouding my listening. The past has a grip on me. And I'm listening from there. I am saying something about that human being that is still present, and I'm listening from there. You can right now be present to this. Notice right now, pertaining to these people that you have in your list, what do you say? What do you hold to be true about these human beings? What is your point of view about those human beings that are there in your list? What do you really know to be true about them? That they don't something, that they always something. Can you just go through the list? What do you hold to be true about them? They always, they generally, they mostly, and they don't. Just make a list. Just take a look at that. What do you hold to be your point of view, which is absolutely true to you? It is really true about these human beings. Notice that point of view is always present. You are not looking them as brand new today. That my daughter is new today. Let me pay attention to her. Wow. Let me notice the face like I have never seen. My daughter's face that I have never seen before. I am kind of not present to her magnificence as a human being. Once again, I'm as soon as I'm looking at her, I'm looking at her like I have seen her. I've heard her. So what point of view do you hold about these people? What do you know to be absolutely true? They are, and they are not. They don't. They generally don't. Just go through the list and see what is your point of view that you hold to be true. The point of view, your point of view will not show up as a point of view. It will show up as truth. She is really like that, but I've got evidence. Your point of view will not show up like I've got a point of view. It'll show up like truth. It's true. You know why it is the point of view? Because you are saying it. The world is a point of view. We just created that. World is created. It's a point of view because you said it. So take a look at that list and see, what are you saying about these people? What do you say to yourself about these people which you know to be true? Give yourself 30 seconds. We might have to extend this conversation by 15 to 20 minutes. Do I have your permission to do that? 15 minutes or so to cover it fully.
Yep.
Yeah, thank you. Just do this work, please. Slowly, slow it down to be powerful. Just go through the list. What do you hold to be true? And take this couple of minutes if you want to also like to stretch yourself, come back into this conversation. I'll just give a couple of minutes break, but you maybe 1 minute, 1.5 minutes break. But take a moment to connect with yourself. What do you say? What point of view do you hold to be true? Are you present to what is your point of view about your people? Can you just give me one or more examples so that we are just able to address it and turn it less theoretical and then go forward from there? Anybody? What is your point of view that you hold to be absolutely, my wife is? What is love? Love shows up to me in variety of fashions. Love is fondness of another human being. I am fond of her. She is likable. I like her. Love grows from that. It can also be a potential that. Love is a feeling that I feel in the presence of another human being. Love is that physical feeling that the person evokes in me or between each other. There can be a million different ways to define love, but all of them are imperfect, because they're incomplete, right? I'm inviting you to consider or see if you can create for yourself, see if you will like this definition of love, that love is just perfect acceptance of the other human being with no change. That no change is love. That I want to bring no change to you is love. That I give you the space to not change, just be this. So now, whatever you want to create on top of that, we will create. But first, no change. Like, I find it doesn't mean that you're perfect. It doesn't mean that you're beautiful. And it is, I love you because it is my commitment that I bring no change space to you. It's my commitment that in this space, you are profoundly powerful to be your version of yourself. This is who I am as love. I'm not love as my demand from you. I am not my love as something I say to you. I am that commitment that I will be the space in which you can be yourself. Notice that what kind of human beings we are right now. We are that human beings in which I've got a lot of rules about how you should communicate to me. Don't call me this. Don't call me bald. Don't call me rude. Don't call me cruel. Don't call me liar. Never call me liar. I'll be hurt. I can be broken. I can be hurt. Don't speak loudly to me. Don't speak so fast. I've got a lot of rules around me. People I love must follow those rules around me, otherwise I'll be hurt. And then it's got repercussions because I'll be broken and I'm really hurt. So you be very careful when you walk around me, walk on eggshells, like carefully walking on eggshells around me. And in turn, I will also be very careful around you because I know you can also be broken. So I will never be loud to you. I will never call you liar. I'll never say that you are a hypocrite. You say great things, don't do it. So you also don't say that to me. You never demand integrity from me. I will also never demand you to be on time and deliver excellence to me. We have a good agreement that we will both let each other be average. Now, what a world I have created around myself in which everybody walks around eggshells around me. It's a world of powerless people. They're not free to be themselves. They can't say their mind. They can't say what is there in their heart for me. They're very conscious. Around this guy, I have to be like this. These are the agreements I've created. We'd want to change that world. That around me, you are safe to be yourself. I can handle a little loudness from time to time because that's not an expression that'll hurt me. That doesn't mean something to me. I may have a reaction to it prompted by something, but you are safe in my presence to be yourself. Love is no change. I'm able to give you the space to be yourself. Does that resonate? So what we are talking about is actually at the heart of communication. Communication, when it will come from here, all communication will be powerful. It will get powerful. Now, we were talking about what you hold to be true about other people. You created some sentence that the person is stubborn or the person is very opinionated or strong opinions. They don't let go easily. I am saying the communication starts when you give up whatever you hold to be true about those people, about the situation, about yourself. Give it up. About all three, give it up. Whatever you are saying about the person, about the situation, about yourself, give it up. Now, why should you give it up? Do you have to give it up? Is there a reason to give it up? Like, I should give it up? You don't have to give it up. You give it up out of your generosity. Pure generosity. What I was saying about my wife was, she doesn't listen, she is stubborn, she is this and that. I don't have to give it up. This is true and valid, whatever I am holding as true. So first of all, Byron Katie asks 4 very powerful questions, and those questions themselves demolish anything that I hold to be true. Those 4 questions are: is it true? Number 2, can I absolutely know that it is true, that she is like this? Really? Can you show evidence? Do you discover evidence clearly? If you do, number 3 sentence: how do I react? What happens to me when I believe this thought to be true? How do I change? This thought, how does it change me? Number 4, who would I be without this thought? Again, go back to the first thought. Is it true? Can I absolutely know that it is true? How do I react? What happens when I believe this thought? Who will I be without this thought? And you don't have to give it up because you give it up out of your generosity. Conversation starts when you're generous. Huge. You let the other person, you release whatever you hold to be true about the point of view. In the past, they did something. Now you release it. And now you listen to them afresh. Watch them faces in a fashion in which you haven't watched before. And you are willing to let them be themselves. You are not looking at them as fragile people. You are looking at them as powerful people. You are not looking at them as something to fix or change. You choose them exactly as they are, and as they are not, don't change at all. That's perfect love. And from that, you listen. You know, what is the early warning of communication is? When you hear, I have heard this before, I know this. That's when communication stopped. It died at that moment when you said, I've heard this before. So now just some pillars to communication. I've already spoken about responsibility. The most powerful pillar of communication is intention. What are you committed to creating in this communication? What do you want to create? Without an intention, a communication is not powerful. So what intention do you bring to this communication? What are you intending to create here? Another important pillar of communication is, like I said, giving something up. When you give up whatever is present, whatever was present, you gave up. Now what is present? You gave up whatever is present. I was saying something, I was having a conversation with you, you were having a conversation with me, and I gave up whatever I was saying about you, about situation, and about myself. I gave it up. Now what is present?
Yes.
Space, nothing. Powerful communication happens when there is no past present. Nothing is present. Then powerful communication happens. So give it up. So bring nothing. Bring nothing to conversation. Before the conversation happens, bring nothing. One more pillar of conversation is to bring everything to conversation, which is exact polar opposite, but equally powerful. What it means is, you may call me, Amit, it is your fault. Now I immediately begin to defend myself. Suppose I said, I totally know that it is that where I have gone wrong. I completely understand. One first mistake, second mistake, third. If I bring all of everything to conversation, then the conversation turns powerful. Let me give you other examples. That Amit, you are really a bad communicator. And I start defending failed communication. I'm defending now. Suppose I said, you have no clue how hard I'm trying to improve, but I'm just a bad communicator. I'm really trying to improve. I have brought everything to communication. Now the communication begins to dissolve. It disarms another human being. You know, when you are willing to take the truth that the other person is coming from and give it support, then the communication completely dissolves, completes itself. Like it is your fault. Instead of defending, if you are willing to bring everything to communication, I know where it is my fault, then the communication begins to dissolve. It begins to get completed. Don't keep anything out of conversation. Bring everything to communication. What are you not bringing on the table? Consider that. That is what is depleting the power of communication. Finally, the power of communication comes from your generosity. To be the kind of human being to whom your loved ones can say anything and yet be powerful, in which you listen to make the other person grow. The kind of human being who accepts their loved ones just the way they are.